Okay, this is Pete Bennett reporting from Walnut Creek Library in Walnut Creek, California. And one of my friends is listening in, but I won't give you her name. So today, this video is about NIMDA, the 9/11 virus. You can find the virus link after I post this on Facebook, which will get reposted to YouTube. And NIMDA the virus was on my laptop, and in June of 2001, I was hired on a contract with AT&T worth $35,000 to $50,000. I walked into work on the day of the 9/11 virus. Rather, I got up to go to work the day of the 9/11 virus. Instead, oh my gosh, I couldn't get there because of this. Hi, Katie. And here's what happened. I waited a week and returned. And I told the manager that I had this virus. We'd been discussing it for a couple of weeks. I picked the virus up on my computer sometime in August of 2001. And eventually we were told that there was a patch coming for it. And the patch didn't arrive. And so I showed up at, oh my gosh, SBCGlobal, one of the biggest, most important internet companies in the world, now owned by AT&T. And I attached to the network, and within about 5 minutes, people were slamming their fingers down on the desk, and the Windows NT4 workstations and servers started crashing. Then mine started crashing. Yes, that's right, Katie. Within minutes, it was in Nevada. And then from there, it went to Chicago. And then from there, it went to Verizon in Atlanta and took out CNN. And moved to the New York Times and then to the New York Stock Exchange, simultaneously bringing down networks around the globe. And if it had hit on 9/11, economic devastation would have been more severe. You could imagine the people that were in position in the stock market. They would have gotten very rich. So the 9/11 NIMDA virus, this is my story. I'm going to put the details up on my blog today called cnetscandal.blogspot.com. And then I'm going to put all the executives from AT&T that lead back to the Bennett versus Southern Pacific murder, where I lost millions in the courtroom. Golly, was I surprised when I saw... Carrie's coming. I'm talking too loud. Is it me, Carrie? I'm doing Facebook Live. Anyways. I'll go. I'll hide. I didn't close them. Anyways, the librarian's come to me and telling me I can't talk. I want to tell you something about this library. That's a rule. They got rules. And sometimes they're private events. One for all and all for one, but never for Pete. So anyways, I have this really important role in 9/11. I want my 9/11 people to get here. So I'm going to post it to my blog. It's already on my other blogs. But go around the corner. Oh, no way, Carrie. All right, I'm going to have to see if I can make it between here. I have such a booming voice that when I start talking, it travels. Maybe can you guys hear me? Let me know. Anyways, so the 9/11 virus is the anniversary today. I think it's today. Hold on. No, it's tomorrow. So the 9/11 virus took out networks across the United States, destroyed systems across SBCGlobal, and then my computer went into meltdown, completely meltdown. And meltdown is like not the China syndrome type of meltdown, but my entire screen started to scramble, and then my system degraded into zero. And then later, when I had to reformat the drive, I had to go back to an MS-DOS F disk and go back from nothing because the drive sectors were gone. The metrics were completely damaged. So here I am, post 9/11. 7 days later, the network's crashing. And people, a lot of money that day. You know, if this stupid, I have this LinkedIn application that wants to crash all the time. So I'm trying to get back into where the Wi-Fi's a little better. So Carrie won't get mad at me as long as I talk quiet. So what happened? Hold on. Let me just tell you something. LinkedIn's got the worst app in the world. It just pops up and crashes. So, and I'll repost this video to LinkedIn. For those of you that know me on LinkedIn, you can call me back. But you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm going to start making some different postings. The LinkedIn thing's still popping up in my face on the computer. So here's what happened. In 2001, I was contracted to SBC. I had a contract for $35,000 with a likelihood of going into the hundreds of thousands. Anybody that gets an AT&T usually makes about $250,000 a year, depending on what's going on. So, good software development brings money. I can do that. So here I am, 17 years later, and I start to notice that Symantec is working on the NIMDA virus history. Sorry about all those flares. I've got a cracked lens, and everything turns into just bright flaring lights. It could be a specialized camera that I can make a lot of money on. No, just kidding. Anyways, I brought the network down. I crashed it. I know what it did. I know the Chicago Board of Exchange and the NYSE plus all the other New York markets went haywire. Now, the disruptions to the market, there's disruption campaigns, and there's, what do they call it, disruptive applications that change the balance of power in the universe. Well, my thing affected money in a lot of ways. And my gut feeling is somebody made billions that day. There was enough damage. You know, if the CBOE goes down and you're trading pork bellies, there's a hiccup, you're done. I mean, you could lose everything because of something that didn't work out. Electronic trades, that's the danger. You know, they might be able to fix some of it at the end of the day settlements, but it's kind of weird, you know, how it happened. So then I turned to my manager. His name was Wayne. And when Wayne started to threaten me in the elevator, big guy, you know, I'm like 5'8", you know, and bigger guys like to punch me, and I've been through that a lot. Many, many times, actually. I've been punched in the face, been punched in the nose, I've been attempted to be run over, I've had my ribs broken. It's okay. Everybody else gets police representation but me. Well, over time, I began to realize that maybe the NIMDA virus was bigger than I realized. So I started doing a little research and discovered it was still being researched 17 years later. Where did it come from? It came from SBCGlobal in San Ramon, California on the, what's the name of that street? Bollinger Canyon exit. And I was in the campus. It's the biggest campus in the world. Just type in San Ramon PacBell campus. And that's who I was working for. And I've successfully worked for these guys a couple of times. I got hired by a lady named Patty, who hired me out of 500 Ignacio, Walnut Creek, that recently shut down. And then I recently realized that it wasn't her office. The layout of it was actually attorneys' offices, and I didn't know that. And that's what Judge Gulab ended up at with his temporary placement of his law degree or his law license. Now, Judge Gulab actually took my license 14 years ago. I have not had a license since 2004. So now I'm involved in 9/11. I know what happened. I know I did it. I admit it. But I didn't put it on my laptop. What I was told was McAfee would have a patch for the virus. All I had to do was come in and log in. And man, it went K-boom. It went down. People weren't lying on the ground with bullets in their head like we see in San Bernardino or Sandy Hook or down there in Texas. But definitely, without a doubt, it came from my laptop. And I don't think they're going to arrest me, because 2 weeks later, the FBI showed up at my house. And we talked about the virus. And we talked about, guess what? We talked about my attorney's office being burned down. And when that attorney's office being burned down, I was in a lawsuit with Russians from Kiev. Oh, Kiev, you know, Robert Mueller's little gang. He's going after everybody because the Russians are hacking our systems. Well, you know, I got hacked by Russians back in my house. You know, I'm just a little programmer up in Timbuktu. I shouldn't be having these kind of problems. But apparently they like to hack my computer. Now, SBC lost about 10,000 employee names. Those are the people that access the system that were embedded. I fixed all that. But I wasn't getting the cooperation. It was the ACE group and his automated construction engineering. And if you go to AT&T, just type in AT&T Board of Directors and look for the railroad guy, and then look for Warren Buffett, because he's in there, Berkshire Hathaway. And then I noticed this board of director was there, and I'll put it all on the blog. I'm doing my menus today, I'm trying to get them fixed, but you're going to look for something, or just type in NIMDA in my search. And there's really no way to show a virus and what it did. And back in 2001, we didn't have cell phones with cameras that were any good. I don't think even I had a cell phone then. I was just trying to save money. And so here I am. And then Wayne says, you lost your data. You're going to have to rewrite your software on your own. Dude, I'm using your systems. My data's gone. He goes, tough luck. So I had I think I received like $9,000. And I was due for another $9,000 payment. And they wouldn't release it. And my recruiter would not call me back. Patty just disappeared. So all you top secret clearance guys, you can find out who Karen is. Because she left Danville. She lived on Cameo. And she lived around the corner from me on Val Vista. And between us, there's a street called, maybe she lived on, actually I think Karen lived on Plaza Circle. Or the little side street that was off Plaza Circle. But we both lived down in a neighborhood called Cameo. And we were friends because our kids were the same age, and my boys used to like to play with her kids. And she relocated because she got tired of the harassment. She quit SBC, took her retirement. Now along comes AT&T in 2007, and they buy SBC, and they call that a subabsorption of a company. Subabsorbed is what they refer to it as. And then AT&T became the big entity it is again today. Now, the antitrust division does not like the Time Warner deal. And do you know that Time Warner owns CNN, and CNN won't talk to me. And I've tried to reach reporters, and they're not interested. Now, I'll post her name on the NIMDA site, but it's a Fox newscaster that's logged onto several of my Twitter account, and it's Michelle. It might be Williams, but it's on I'll make it so you see it on the NIMDA thing. So you guys, I want you to focus on NIMDA. I'll hopefully get it up on a menu today, and then if you want to learn about it, if you can understand IP packets and DNS, and how an NDIS driver improperly encapsulated was able to be breached. So it's little stuff like wrappers around the protocol, and somebody was able to find a buffer overload and get in. That was built by a company called Microsoft. You remember them the big guys in the sky. And you know, when I lost a lot of money, one of the things that happened was that I discovered that Bill Gates and Melinda Gates invested in a company called Calera Capital. Now, Mr. Gates might be in big trouble with this story because Calera Capital is connected to Southern Pacific, and Southern Pacific assets went into Fremont Group, who manifested a new company called Calera, and then they seeded it with assets from the railroad. And those assets from the railroad also ended up in a pipeline called Southern Pacific Pipeline Partners. So I have a whole section on Southern Pacific. I'll put a link up on it. And we'll use NIMDA as kind of like ground zero. So a lot of people ask me, do you have a role in 9/11? You bet I do. And if I had showed up on that Tuesday, the economic devastation would have been a lot larger. Now, I have a lot of nice things to say about Donald Rumsfeld. I'm going to put his picture up there. And I'm going to put, what do you think I should call him? Shock and awe, truly excited. And then say, you know what the firemen have cameras facing backwards for at the crowd? Well, they want to see some business going on. I'll leave it at that. You can do your own research on that one. I know about arson because 3 years after I got fired at SBC, my truck exploded. Oh my God, there was some gas fuel right under my legs in my car. And I almost got killed. I know that. Nobody believes me. And then my friend that I met, and we were going to have a date with her daughter and my sons. Her brother's involved in the explosion that killed the welders in Walnut Creek. So that brings in Kinder Morgan. Now, if you go and you look at the board of directors at these companies, the interlocutory director has become my best friend. It leads to BlackRock. It leads to Brian Cornell of Safeway. And Safeway leads to Steve Bird. Steve Bird leads to Southern Pacific because he used to work there. And Steve Bird, I love this guy. He attended church at Hillside Covenant Church, where one of the members actually took my son when I got arrested. Oh my God, the handcuffs. Daddy, what's going on? They made it look really good. Total annihilation. Okay? Okay, I'm doing my oral history here. Maybe a little bit weird. The NIMDA virus leads to Fremont Group, and it leads to AT&T. So if you find a railroad guy at AT&T, which you're going to find, and if you find a BlackRock guy at Fremont Group, and then if you find that Patterson, Teal, and Dennis, which is my grandfather's company at 120 Broadway, you're going to find out that Larry Silverstein owns that building. And I'm thinking, you know, my grandpa, he was involved in that building all the way back to the 1920s with Patterson, Teal, and Dennis. And I'm beginning to wonder. I'm wondering if the fires in our New York apartment destroyed documents. We had original AT&T stocks. Uncle Baxter Milne, he gave me a bunch of those, but they got lost in the mess that I've been through. I don't even know where to get them. I've tried to get them from Florida. Just things just don't work out. I'm getting tired. Last night I was sleeping outside in my little crib that they call home behind a building in the cold weather. And last night the rats are all over the place. So last night was a rat night, and I can hear them scratching all over the place for the first time. But then these plastic cans fell down on my head. I got cut up on my head. Oh well. I'm treated so well by the city of Walnut Creek. I'm a prisoner in my own mind. If you want to look up Stockholm Syndrome, understand what it means. I don't think I am trapped that much, but my preference is just to stay close to the police department. And the matter of fact, if I hadn't, I probably would have been dead. There's some officers in Walnut Creek that are going to be arrested for trying to kill me. And that's a whole other thing that happened, and there's going to be officers in Danville, from Danville, and the Sheriff's Department that are going to be arrested for conspiracy to commit murder. And you know, Prudential Insurance, they rock. They told me they weren't going to give me a refund, even though I figured out they were going to kill me for my insurance. Not quite sure who it was, but I know they had ready, aim, fire. Okay, so getting serious again. Back to NIMDA. Now I'm going to take this video, put it under NIMDA. I'm going to find some other videos, and then I'm also going to talk about the virus. And I don't even know the name of it, but the virus that scraped the credit cards from NCR machines. And I'm going to tell you how the WUSA Windows Update Service Administration is the likely culprit. Now, there are some people here that are pretty technical that are watching today, and you know, I think most of us have downloaded 1 million records before and know how long it takes. And I'm not buying that they were able to download 200 million or 500 million records, whatever it was, in a little portal in Timbuktu in Pennsylvania. There's a scapegoat in this story. What I am buying, and I think NCR is buying it, is that my roommate David Bremer, whose father is Bill Bremer, who worked for NCR, and just like me, he got fired. And if you follow the board of directors at Target, you can follow the relationship to SBC and AT&T to Santa Fe, and then you can follow that relationship to Southern Pacific San Jose, which was once held by Southern Pacific Transportation Corp., which is who I sued in Bennett versus Southern Pacific. And guess what? I got fucked really badly. They killed my witness, a 21-year-old kid. They won. Winning is everything. That's right. And then if you look at the guy named Rick Kopp, he's given millions of dollars to Mitt Romney. I sort of getting it all pieced together. I'm beginning to realize there's a conspiracy. I don't know what you call it because I'm not a co-conspirator. I'm an unwilling participant or an unwitting participant who's standing up for his country. You can kick the shit out of me, but I'm still going to get back up again and come tell you it happened. And I know there's some unwitting pawns in this story. And what they did to me at PG&E is exactly what they did to me at AT&T, and it's exactly what they did to Brill. And then what they did to Bill is they killed his son in the jail. In the same jail, they tried to kill me, where they did kill my attorney's son. And my attorney's son actually, the attorney actually is an intellectual property attorney. Oh my gosh. Can you believe that? So NIMDA the virus, the one magnificent missing virus, I'm going to tie it together with something else. It's called anthrax. And I'm going to tie it together to Doc's Pharmacy. And I'm going to tie it together to Jamie Sheets, who committed suicide while working for Steve Byrd. And when I sued Southern Pacific back in 1987, within about a few months, my Safeway projects were canceled. Millions in business gone. I did not know that Steve Byrd and Rick Kopp worked together at Southern Pacific in the early 70s. And Rick Kopp is a Mormon. And if you look at Pacific Energy Group, you're going to be really surprised when you see Adam McAfee, the son of John McAfee, who did the antivirus stuff at SBC that yours truly installed, who was told that McAfee had a patch. Talk to Wayne. They can find him if they haven't killed him. And the other guy that's there, you know what? Protect America. This is going to be an AT&T call. And I'm going to say one more thing. There's going to be a guy here watching these videos that's high up in AT&T that's going to know who I am. I was his cabinet maker. My truck exploded. I'm sorry, I couldn't get there. And my ABS system failed in an attempt to kill me. And then over the summer, I got beat up by a building inspector. And they threw that poor fucker down an elevator shaft. His name is Gary Vincent Collins. He's from Texas, I think. So, anyways, the NIMDA virus and the virus at Target, or the breach, or the malware, whatever it was, I don't even want to name it. My theory is it came through the WUSA update servers. One of the executives from NCR found my conversation on Twitter and logged in and followed me. And I'm going to step it up this week and really go full blast. Anybody got a laptop they want to get rid of? Give it to me. I need one. I need anything better than an i5 laptop. I have a DX X 1016 or something like that. It's on my blog. I'll put it on the blog. I broke the screen. I'm in the poor house. I don't have no money. My bank accounts have been cleaned out by the creditors, and that's what happens because they got liens and they go in there and they take everything I put in. So I just sit here and lay here and wait. I wait for the fateful moment that a brick is going to hit me in the head, or I'm going to wake up with a bullet between my eyes like OfficerLesterGarnier.com, and I'm going to let Mr. Gavin Newsom know what's going on because it's important, because he's a BlackRock customer. In fact, I got a lot of dead people that I know personally or know something about more in depth than the average person. So back to NIMDA, you'll see a story about that I'm going to grab from Tech Target and Computer World. And then you guys can friend my friend Patrick Thibodeau. He's on my site. If you just type in Patrick, you'll see he's one of my friends. He's the former editor of Computer World that interviewed me several times. I get the feeling Pat's writing a book. My other friend, give him support, is Joseph Tully. And the name of his book, hold on. Let me slip in here and go get it. I've got to go in the quiet room. The title of the book, let me turn the camera around. Fumble fingers. There we go. Fumble fingers. There we go. Okay. It says, I'm trying to get some light on it for you, but I think you can see it. California State of Collusion. Joseph Tully. Shocking revelations from a high credibility lawyer. And Joe and I have known each other for 6 or 7 years, maybe 8 years. And here's his compliment that he wrote to me. I love this, what he wrote. Because he sent me a letter about this about 5 or 6 years ago. And he goes, Mr. Bennett, I appreciate the great work. The great work you did uncovering the corruption in Contra Costa County. Always speak the truth. Always speak out for justice. And then there's the cover page. And I can tell you right now, we could call this place the state of collusion. We could call it the state of confusion. If you're a public employee, you're smiling, man. You got it all. Let me read you a chapter. Normally read. There is he goes into some interesting narratives about different cases, and my friend Kelly is back. I gotta go now.
Please don't make me come down here again.
I gotta go now. Everybody say goodbye.